I've never heard of that. Is it just like a brand or something? Or mousse and gravy? Okay, now what is mousse and gravy? Using the follow-up. You need a UK link anyways. I'll have a look, Jenny. I know, right? It's tough because I just typed in roving and was trying to find a provider local to me. And for the folks in the UK, you may have to look at the UK ones, right? With all the sellers and the laws that have changed now. You're doing pretty good, says Sleeping Beauty. I've started adding my yarn to my stash on Oh, your yarn. Oh, shit. Very cool. Very cool. Just make my own, though. Thank you for showing me. Yeah, no worries, Anganette. I hope it's helpful. I hope it's helpful. I just send me your credit debit card, and that should be sufficient enough willpower. Oh, my God. My God. I think they were talking about moose meat. I think so. It's a normal biscuit, though. It's not actual moose meat. I've had moose meat. That is very specific. If it were moose meat, TBH. When I lived on the east coast of Newfoundland, you've had moose meat. You've had moose meat. I'll tell you though, things like buffalo burgers, those are really good. What? I'm gonna be a little more picky right there because I'm not happy with that white flick. So sometimes as you're stabbing, what is a filled in area will actually become a pocket because you're now filling in the gaps and trying to find out where you haven't stabbed through. You know, are there little white flicks that you need to deal with? So you find you're like literally stabbing, you might create a pocket to the side and you're just kind of navigating it. Because if you over stab in spots, you know, like you can sometimes move things and work with it, but don't break your needle, right? These are very fine, the ultra fine ones, so that they don't cause holes. Just what I use. Pix, can you explain how needle felting works for Space Hobo? Oh, yes, I can. Shit, I am so sorry, Space Hobo. I have never seen needle felting before. Can you explain how it stays in? I'm sorry I missed that. It took a mod highlighting a message for me. Yes, let's take a look. So before let me finish this last little bit here. Finish this last bit, and then I'm gonna clip this off. I think that's really good. Okay, cool. All right, we got the nose with this little cutie nose here, and I can probably fix this corner a bit with this now, but we'll pause and we'll show you how needle felting works so that you can understand it. Oh, there goes Psyduck. Psyduck was actually going to be my backup plan. Okay, let's talk needle felting. So when you have your ami finished, right, the crochet side is done. Now you're using what's like a wool. This is like literally from a sheep. This is literally from a sheep, but dyed or colored, whether it's red, black, even dyed white from white wool. All right, it's dyed literal sheep. This is a sheep, right? Like you can, it doesn't smell like a sheep because it's been washed and cleaned, but then dyed. But like, let's just start there. When you're taking your piece and you're looking to shape it, like I use pins. Some use paper stencils to cut out so they know the shape. But the way needle felting works, and we're talking not needle felting for creating creatures out of 3D. We're talking about details. The way it works is that you're taking it and stabbing it into the fibers that you've created here. So whether it's a small chunk, a small one here, like the eyes on our Psyduck, excuse me, or, you know, whether it's the details like the lines around the teeth, you're taking a certain amount of this and you're stabbing it into this, right? And then you're literally guiding it and directing, but the fibers are getting caught and twisted inside as you're stabbing. So when you do that, you're gonna hear what's like a crunching sound, and it's actually really satisfying. If there are people who fidget or like that clicking, twisting in their hands and their fidgeters, y'all are gonna love needle felting. The crunch that you feel when you're stabbing it in, right? You can see here like the different directions you have to manipulate the roving to fill in these gaps and stuff, but you're stabbing it. You're stabbing it into the piece. Now, I'm using an ultra fine needle. You can see here is very, very thin. If you use too thick a needle, you can actually punch holes. This whole thing will cave in because you've punched big, big, gigantic holes. You could snap fibers if you use a really, so I use ultra fine. Play it safe. It's safe. Okay, don't go crazy. But that allows me to control little details, right down to rolling a ball of black and then stabbing it perfectly into a circle and then shaping it with my needle and stabbing at different angles. getting the fibers caught up and twisted in each other. And that's how needle felting works. It essentially gives you that opportunity to do stuff like that so that you can see it, right? But it's cool because it gives it this really, like, when you push it, you can feel like it goes indented, like into the ami, and almost like from a side view, you can kind of see how it, you know, it goes imprinted. So your details are so bright. Oh, thank you. I really do try. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still trying to figure out how to do this craft in freehand. I love freehanding needle felting. I thought paper templates and stuff, but like if I have a reference shot and a couple of pins for guidance and symmetry, I'm actually okay, you know? So I hope that helps. Again, it's literally twisting the fiber. It looks so great. You look so great. Thank you. And yo, welcome in Wyvern's Code. Hello, how are you? Happy Friday. I don't like bear or goose, way too greasy. I actually like buffalo. TBH, I love buffalo. Buffalo is delicious. Now, where's that little piece of black roving I had? Well, might have just put it off to the side and did not mean to. I only need a little. Only need a little for that corner. But when you're separating, like see here, here's a random white thread of what that sheep was before. I don't know if you're gonna see this. You can see this here, maybe if I like see that, there we go, with the backdrop here. Literally, it's like pulling a gray hair out. Like you can see, versus like, you know, so. But when you're pulling it, it's about how much do I need to stab in an area, right? With the nose, you probably need a little bit more. But for little corner I want to fix in the upper left, you can pick and start to pull apart how much you need and control. You can see here on my hand, I'm controlling how much I need, and it's probably, I'm guesstimating, something like in here, right? And then eventually you're just going to start to spin it with your hand, like this, just using a bit of your natural oils in your fingers to just twist. Just keep twisting it and using your thumbs here and your finger. How thin am I pulling this out or not by applying pressure? So the harder you pinch as you pull through your fingers, you can control and feel exactly how much I need. And it turns out like I can go with that. I can go thinner. You're great with the detail, Thad. Thank you for teaching. Yo, Space Hobo, I appreciate you. Anytime people have questions and getting into crafts, I'm still learning. Are you kidding? I learned from another crafter here on Twitch. And if you're not confident in where it's going, use a pin to help you. Literally pin it on a corner where you're already safe, right? And then get another pin until you're comfortable, because now I can turn this confidently with that pin as a pivot. So I can sort of guide it and free up a hand. You see that? Like I can turn where I need this. So I found like little, prep yourself and like pin it where you need it to ahead of time, and then you can just get real specific. The reason why I leave a bit of a tail though is that I can cut this or use it later on, right? Once that's pinned in, I don't need it. I pin aside, right? I'm just keeping a container of pins here to the side so that I can do this. And like literally turn the shape and like look at it, like where is this going? Where are you about to stab it, you know? And do I need this tail to now even out the nose just a little bit? Just a little bit to curve that out, you know? A little curve. Get that in the corner. And now if I don't want the rest of this tail because I smoothed out the curve, cut it off. And then take a look at your nose. You know, how does that look? Right, if I take this tail off now. Looks pretty good. Right, it looks pretty good. If I cut that there. Also, another trick I find is I use the rows of my ami as a guide. How many rows high is that nose? Probably one row with this yarn. Turns out that's about where I want it. Center of the face is that kind of a height. And then the curve of the nose. I don't find bison dry at all. It's a lot of like pork. It's that easy to dry out. It can be, right? Beef is beef and pork, you know? I love meat, game meats. I'd also be happy living on that, and homegrown Sleeping Beauty. I know there's a lot of people, like friends of mine who've grown up in the country, love that gamey stuff. It's just what they grew up with, right? It's a preference to have that gamey taste. You don't like bear or goose, way too crazy? Okay, Dandy Him, you've had that. Moose meat, maple breakfast sausage. Oh my gosh, I just read that Alaska. God damn. Moose meat tacos? I've never had that. But moose meat in the gravy, that sounds good. I've never had that. Princess Mitty, you like moose meat as well? Sweetling, of course we eat moose. Oh my gosh. There's certain hunting seasons here and regulations we follow. Tell your boyfriend if he got beef that I'm a vegetarian. I ain't fucking scared of him. Oh god. I don't find bison dry at all though. I don't know. It can vary. It can vary. I mean, you know, it could vary. All right, let's start doing an eye. We're gonna turn our Amy on the side here and start to map out just exactly where I want this eye to be. So some people again do paper templates. I'm kind of like, I'm the guy who's like, where does this have to meet? You know, where does this have to go in his face frame? And is it too far in one area? So like, I prefer to just kind of freehand and then figure out where my corner points are. Here, I thought you were just maple tree vampires. I mean, aren't we? Aren't we though? Aren't we? This might be ambitious as an eye. It is. We need to curve that more. Because I find I can shape myself a little easier with a pin and like find where I want to go a little quicker and like be picky. Rather than cutting paper templates and screwing up all the time. Like I'm looking at the curve that this is forming. Like how does his eye look when he looks at us? You know what I might need to do quick? I might need to find another quick reference because I do have this one, right? But like I want to find Ori as an image and see what we can get on a face-on view. I don't know that we have face-on views. Oh. Okay, this might be good. So those white glowy balls are basically the equivalent of his pupil. I could widen the nose, to be honest, if I follow that shape more. They're very close to his nose. I did not think about that. All right, I'm just going to keep that image up and readjust his eye. I think what I'm going to do. So here's what I'm doing. I'm trying to readjust all of these pins into like the shape of that I want. 10 out of 10 ref. Oh god. You probably weren't that for North and North. Oh my god. Are you wearing a Charmander or Dragonite? This is actually Charmander. This is a Charmander. He doesn't have any wings, no little antenna like Dragonite. Dragonite's a little more golden color, but yeah. It is a Charmander. Fix the issues I had been having with that book. Oh, Anganette, I'm glad to hear that. Would just any blue do for the eyes of Charmander? Okay, so let's talk. The eyes, I'll tell you. First of all, Anganette, you're gonna fight with yourself on every goddamn color that you find for Pokemon, right? Charmander has been red. Charmander's been orange. Charmander's been like light orange. His eyes have been blue and teal, and like there's so many. So first, don't get too caught on that because it's a struggle. If you're gonna be a picky bitch like me, that's what I went with for the eye, right? I went with this and I actually mixed yarns. All of this is like Red Heart, except that teal by Impeccables. This teal here, because I liked it a little bit better than the actual, got little hairs here, from the yarn. Here we go. I was not happy with the color. This matched more exact. That was just me being picky though. That was just me being a picky bitch. So, you know. Okay, so I've been underestimating that his eye is more of a curve, so we're gonna shape that a little more as a curve. Because apparently I thought it came down too narrow, and it's much more rounded. It is not a point. It's more of a round. Prince, oh my gosh. 3-month gift subscription.
Thanks to Karen Days
I know.
for my sub gift.
That's so nice of her. Thank you so much, Prince, for that resub, and thank you, Karen, for that 3-month gift sub to Prince. You come back to Pixie making a voodoo doll? I am not making a voodoo doll. Why is that always associated with this shit? We're gonna turn that. I hate that song. This is not a voodoo doll. We're shaping eyes, goddammit. I was looking at this now before the music threw me off. I think we end, the pivot point is right about here. And then we're almost there. I think this is the shape. Something like that. I think we do. I like it.